What's going on, folks? Hopefully everybody can see me. Can everybody hear me? What's happening? Let's fix our camera here a little bit. There's some craziness going on. All right. Whew. Ed, it's good to see you guys. Can you guys hear me? Somebody give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Let's see. All right, you guys getting sound? All right, cool. Good to go. All right, folks. Daryl, it's good to see you. Ed, it's good to see you. Tyler, it's good to see you. Looks like our feed is a little bit behind, so I apologize for that. So we got a lot of good things going on here. Coming to you from Istanbul. Let's see, was there anyone that I forgot? Summer. We tried to get Summer on here, but we couldn't quite get the all the electronical magic to work. So we got a lot of cool things going on, though. Let's see. We'll wait a few minutes to let everybody else jump in here, whoever's coming. If you're just coming on, let's see, we got up to 8 people right now. If you're just coming on, make sure you throw down a hello. Rob, it's good to see you. Glad you made it. What else we got over there? And if you're just coming in, make sure you say hello down in the comments. We appreciate that. This is especially fun talking to myself. I definitely missed the studio already, where at least we got some a little bit of interaction going on around us and not just talk to a screen. So you guys bear with me. I'll try to keep you as entertained as I possibly can. But I do have some good information for you. I'm pretty excited about some events that turned out this week. And I guess we'll just kind of get right into it. And you guys keep the see, I'm already spoiled. I'm not used to having to do all the comments and stuff again. We had Aaron doing that, and now I've gotten lazy and dumb. Let's see. Roberts. John, it's good to see you. Daryl, almost 6K into the rifle. Can't seem to find a bipod that isn't Picatinny in stock anywhere. Yeah, Daryl, we got those. So we got you covered. If you need an ARCA, you're going to need an ARCA rail. So we got those in stock. I didn't think about it, or we could have got you squared away before you left. Aaron, Istanbul. It's pretty cool, man. It's the first time I got to be here. The weather's been crap the last few days, and I've been working. So I haven't been able to get out as much as I'd like, and definitely see as much as I'd like. I definitely want to go see the Hagia Sophia. We'll try to get that done tomorrow. Tomorrow's my only day. My only day that I have some free time. What I really wanted to do, it's been on my bucket list, is get down to Göbekli Tepe. And if you guys don't know what Göbekli Tepe is, and you're not the monolithic ruins nerd that I am, you need to look that up because it's pretty interesting. They're monolithic ruins that are over 12,000 years old that have completely changed the scientific paradigm of kind of what we thought humans were doing 12,000 years ago. But it can all be explained with ancient aliens. So watch that episode and you'll be good to go. Scott, what's going on, man? Paul, good to see you. I missed you last week, Paul. Where were you, buddy? Let's see, Daryl. How dare you? So, Daryl, if you'd like to share, I don't want to share your business, but if you'd like to share, you can throw it up there, and I'll talk about what's going on with that and your particular rifle. So we'll share with that. But yeah, so anyways, I plan on getting over to Hagia Sophia tomorrow. I tried to. The weather's been terrible here this last week. It's been nothing but. It's exactly why I left Seattle. It was nothing but cold, rainy, and just completely terrible. So, and I was working, and I was dealing with some jet lag and all the other good stuff. So tomorrow's the day, and then I will be leaving Sunday, going to Ankara. So that's actually the capital. I didn't know that. It wasn't until this trip that I didn't realize that Istanbul wasn't the capital of Turkey. So that's interesting. What else we got over here? Anyone else that hasn't said hello yet? There's got to be a few because there's 14 people we got on here now. If you haven't said hello, say hello down in the comments. We'll say hello back and go from there. Well, we'll get right into it. If you have some more questions about Istanbul, definitely hit me up. Be glad to. But a couple different things that you guys have been asking for that I have been listening to is specifically when it came to Arken Optics. So first of all, and John is on here. John sent me his optic. It just arrived since I was gone, so I haven't seen it. But I believe, John, that was the 4 to 24 or something like that. I forgot what the model it was. Let me look over here and see, make sure I get these model numbers right. Arken Optics. Let's see what we got here. No, that's wrong. That's where I want to be. So let's see. If I understand correctly, John, 24 by 50, the SH4. There you go. 4 to 16 by 50. Just talk to them. So many people have been about doing a review on the Arken Optics to those guys, and every now and then. I don't know if you guys can still hear me, whether or not let's see. Boogeyman, I think the first time we got on the screen. All right, I'm back. Hopefully we'll maintain this. Sorry, guys. All right. So, anyways, I was able to reach out to Arken Optics, told them who I was, told them what I wanted to do, and I appreciate you guys hanging in there. And they immediately called me. Well, actually, at first they called Summer, and then I ended up getting a hold of the guy. I was already here in country, and long story short, they're sending me their newest offerings. I think it's the EPS. It's the 5 to 25 first focal plane, 56 millimeter objective lens. So we're going to do a full review both on that one and the one that John sent me. I'm actually going to do a comparison with those. We're going to do a deep dive into those and compare those to a Night Force. And we're going to look at the image that it produces, color and clarity, contrast. And then we're going to look at tracking. We're going to do a tall target test on all three of those. We are going to have a whole list of other things, making sure that we have tactile and audible clicks on the turrets. I want to know how stiff the magnification rings and all the dials are on there. We're going to look at the illumination. But I'll tell you, folks, that let's see. Aaron says he has the Arken SH4 Gen 2. It's 24 still in the box. There you go. Those optics definitely offer a lot of bang for your buck. And I know you guys have been saying this to me for a long time. But anyways, we're going to get one in. And we're actually going to have two of them in. And we're going to do a very, very detailed, not only review on those, but I want to compare them directly to Night Force. Because if they're anywhere close, I mean, we're talking about an optic that costs over $3,000 versus an optic that costs about $500. One costs less than $500 or about $500, and the other one's like $569. So, and I can tell you right now, the gentleman I spoke with, if we start doing this, I think we can build a good relationship with Arken and maybe have some influence on, hey, if there are some issues or there's improvements needed, maybe we can influence them in the right direction. Say, hey, this is what I thought is great, and this is what I think needs to be improved. So, at the end of the day, I mean, if this is anywhere close to the performance of some of these other brands, I mean, again, $500, that's hard to beat, right? So we'll see how that turns out. And again, I told him, hey, we're going to do a fair and objective review and go from there. And again, we'll see. Daryl says, losing feet. Daryl says we'll have it. So I will not have promo. What I'm talking to is if they are something that I would be willing to recommend based on their performance, actually become a dealer for them. And so we'll have those on hand because I would love the ability to be able to offer clients that are just getting the long range. I'd love to give them a viable offer under $600. I mean, that'd be awesome. But there again, if they're not tracking well, if the glass is garbage, which they're using extra low dispersion glass, which should be the same kind of clarity, same quality of glass that we should be getting from Night Force. Now the difference may be the coatings. Coatings make a huge in glass. It determine whether or not how well the color contrast, how well colors pop up, and all that other good stuff. The generator guy, hell of a time to be traveling. You're absolutely right. It is a heck of a time to be traveling. So actually, it's not too far from where we're at. All the action happening. So we'll stay safe. I think we got plenty enough distance unless things start going a lot bigger than what they are right now. So anyways, I'm pretty excited about reviewing both of those scopes and doing a full detailed comparison to see if we're getting your money's worth when it comes to those optics. If they're now, 1,000 yards plus. So that's really what we're going to see. So that'll be a lot of fun. What else we got going on out there, folks? Let's see. So Gary gets near to the rush. Yeah. Let's see. Aaron says, if you want to borrow one of the 6 to 24 by 50, let me know. I will let you know, Aaron. I think those two scopes, as they are, we will get a pretty clear view about where they're coming from a quality standpoint, right? So I think those two ultimately get every single one of the models in, and there again can once we have a base comparison of their current, which is going to be their best model, their top model, which is that 56 millimeter objective lens, first focal plane, 525, 34 millimeter objective tube. I mean, if that one is comparable to a Night Force Ecker 5 to 25, well, I think that says a lot for the wrestlers. And, you know, one of the things that I got into with, or one of the, I told the guys, like, you know, what corners are you guys cutting? And essentially his stance was all of these other companies could be selling drop for the same price. And essentially, you know, the stance on this whole issue is that they're selling cheap because they're just not price gouging. Again, we'll see. We'll see where, you know, ultimately they have to make money, right? You got to make money as a company. So you figure they're probably making somewhere around $300 a scope. That's what I would guess. So you're building that scope for around 200 and some change. And this is all speculation. This is nothing they told me or anything like that. So I'm just throwing numbers out there as I see them. So I don't know. You know, maybe they won't be as refined, but if they get the job done and you can dial consistently, it is tracking correctly, it's holding zero, it's durable, and you can see targets clearly, again, out to 12, 13, 1,400 yards. Because if you're running a 5 to 25 by 56, 34 millimeter objective lens, you know, we should be able to hit targets out to 15, 1,600 yards with that, no problem. As long as the glass is good and as long as all the internals do what they say they need to do. Tyler says, need some, oh God, I'm double clicking. Don't double click. Click and wait. Need some help, 10.5 inch, 5.56, trying to choose between the 1 to 6 LPV or 3X Prism Opticon. Looking at Swamp Fox. I would go with a LPVO. Without a doubt. I'm assuming that Prism Optic is fixed, Tyler. I'm not a fan of fixed powered optics. Those were cool back in, you know, the 2000s when Trijicon first came out, and they were the first kind of carbine optic. But even those were very difficult if you don't get a lot of reps in shooting those at close distance. And I'm telling you that three power is not what to do when you're reaching out further than, you know, 200-300 yards. So I would go with a 1 to 6. Even if you get a second focal plane, which you can save a lot of money going with a second focal plane optic. You know, there's some disadvantages of that, but if it's a matter of the budget, I would go with that LPVO 1 to 6, 1 to 8, and maybe get a second focal plane where you're not getting reticle that's going to, you know, expand and contract from there. So that's what I would recommend, Tyler. Let's see. Luke Michael, Istanbul was one of my first deployments. That was when it was still Constantinople, right, Luke? I'm joking. No, Istanbul is pretty cool. Again, haven't got out as much as I'd like, but we'll try to remedy that tomorrow. Scott, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Glad you made it. All right. Yeah, so let's talk about, let's see what we got here. What are your thoughts? Oh, sorry, LW. What are your thoughts on some of these laser training tools for the AR better than dry fire? It just depends. I'd have to see exactly which one you're talking about. We just got in the Mantis. It's the Blackbeard. It's the AR dry fire. I haven't opened it up, haven't reviewed it, haven't done a video on it, haven't opened it up. I'll just leave it at that. From what I see, it looks really good. If it's just like everything else that Mantis offers, I think it's really good. I'm not a fan of these laser emitting devices like some of the CERT guns and things like that, because they take a bad habit and they ingrain that bad habit. And what that bad habit is people looking at their target, not looking at their sights. So when you're using some of these laser emitting devices where they're emitting invisible laser, now there's some out there I've seen where you're shooting targets, you can't see the actual laser. It's not a visible laser, it's just hitting a target and you can get feedback from that. So I think those are good. But anything that's emitting a laser where you're looking at that laser at the end of the barrel or on your target, I think that is something that is just making bad habits even worse. So like CERT guns and some of these other guns, not a fan of those. If you haven't seen our video on the Mantis, go check that out. The Mantis, between the Mantis and the dry fire mag, those things are money. Again, I would look at the Blackbeard. I'm sure there's some videos already out there on Blackbeard, but it seems like a really good AR platform training tool. It's already integrated with the rest of the Mantis, which is a really solid system. So you can check that out. And we have let's see, Scott Derrick says that Blackbeard is nice. So there's that. Luke, when you were, and again, feel free to cut me off if you don't want your business out there, but when you deployed here, were you like Marine security guard, or what kind of deployment was it here? You can answer that as we go along. I'll come back to you. Let's see. John says the Mantis dry fire mag for the M&P 2.0 is awesome. Absolutely right. I freaking love both of those. Let's see. The Blackbeard is invisible until you pull the trigger and it resets the trigger. Gotcha. Okay. Fair enough. Again, as long as it's not taking your eyes off your sight. And again, it's a little different too, because most of you guys that are running an AR, you're looking through an optic. So it's a little bit different than a handgun where you really need to focus on that front sight. So it probably wouldn't be detrimental or as impactful in a negative way or impactful in a negative way at all with an AR platform on some of those options. So there's that. What else we got over here? Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about Ukraine, and you guys can start throwing up some comments, and they can be serious or a joke or whatever. Man, this Ukraine thing is pretty crazy, and I'll just say it the way that I feel. I mean, I think Ukraine is a direct result of having such a weak president. Right now, we have a military. You see, the fact of the matter is that we have an executive branch, and we currently have military leaders that are not serious people and do not understand the threat in the world and the deterrence that our military once held. I don't think it does anymore. And I'm pretty ashamed at what the military has become as far as, right now we're too busy. Our soldiers and servicemen and women are too busy updating pronouns as opposed to, worrying about getting out there and being actual war fighters. And on top of that, you put in a weak leader followed by what I think is we're still the strongest military in the world. There's no doubt about that. But we are not the fighting force that we once were, and we're too embroiled in this wokeness to be taken seriously by the rest of the world. And again, you can be the strongest military in the world, but if you have a weak leader that doesn't project strength in the fact that you're willing to use it, then you see what's going on here in Ukraine. And I think that's exactly what's happening. I would be very surprised if we don't see China start moving into Taiwan while this is happening. If I was them, that's exactly what I would do from a strategic standpoint. So I think we've gotten ourselves into a mess, and they can sanction them all day. all those things are a joke to Russia. None of that stuff is going to go into effect, and they're not going to start feeling it for months and months on end. And you can understand from Russia's calculus, if you can throw all these sanctions at us that may or may not hurt them, but at the same time, they're taking over an entire another country. So they're going to make up in resources and in other ways that those sanctions, whatever deficits those sanctions cause, they're going to make up in other ways. And another thing, I think, is just I think this is a power move too, just showing the world that it's really making a fool out of us, right? Putin's saying, I can do whatever I want to do, and there's really no one serious enough willing to stop me. Now, with that being said, I also don't think that we should get involved in this from boots on the ground standpoint. I think that would be folks, again, I wrote a post a few weeks ago where all these people were saying, hey, look, we got to get people on the ground. We got to do this. They're beating the war drums, and they have no clue what they're talking about. They have no clue as to, we lost the will to fight over 20 years with around, I think, total was like 14,000 deaths. I don't even think it was that much. I don't know. I don't remember the numbers exactly, but when I was writing that post, I had them in front of me. We get into a war with Russia, who's from a tactical strength militarily, they're very aligned. Look, they have all the laser guided bombs, smart missiles. They have special operations that are akin to ours. From a tactical standpoint, if we're just going to stay on a ground level, folks, we're talking about tens of thousands of casualties a week potentially. Like what we're talking about, what people are proposing, they don't understand the reality. And I said this in the post. The other thing too is we are so easily defeated through other means, basically through our own media, because what's going to happen is you have a highly populated area like Ukraine. If U.S. goes in there, Russia can bomb the crap out of all these different residential areas and things like that. And then they're going to start saying that it's our fault. And maybe, and quite frankly, with a population density, there's going to be extreme amount of casualties. And we're going to get blamed for those, right? So, and our media is going to be complicit in it. They're going to blame us. So what's going to happen is we're going to go over there. We're going to lose tens of thousands of people, soldiers. We're going to get blamed for all kinds of different war crimes. And then we're going to end up leaving very quickly in defeat, and we're going to look stupid. So it's a mess, and it's a mess that's created out of weakness. We absolutely have, I don't know. For those people and for you that voted for Biden, I just don't even know what to say, because that guy's an embarrassment. I'll just say it like that. China's gone on record saying, as goes Ukraine, so goes Taiwan. They do. And I don't know what's going on, because apparently China hit Russia with some sanctions today. I don't know the truth of that. And I don't know if that is, I don't know what that means exactly. There's some of that going on. So who knows what that means? I still think they're in cahoots, and whatever they're doing is they're just playing mind games. Putin's $100 billion war chest can sustain them for a long while these sanctions are joking. Absolutely. It's actually pretty pathetic the way that our president and our military leaders are handling this. Yeah, so that's how I feel about Ukraine and what's going on with Ukraine. Again, this is every single year. Again, I got out of the military. I came off active duty in 2011, got out of the Guard, did another year of Guard duty at 20th Group for a year. And I got to tell you, I felt like I got out at the right time. And the more that I talked to a lot of my friends that are still in, it's just become so politically correct, and their focus is no longer war fighting. The focus is, again, making sure that, we're using the correct pronouns, that we're, reassignment, surgery, sex, reassignment surgery is getting paid for, and these types of things. And, the rest of the world does not take us seriously. I mean, it is, we become so weak that it isn't even funny. All right, let's see what we got. Larry, too much of what Americans were doing in Ukraine was about setting up money laundering schemes, and diplomatic relations with Russia were polluted with collusion hoax throughout the Trump years. Yeah, I completely agree with that, Larry. I think that Ukraine is essentially a den of corruption down there, and I think we're the ones that had a lot to do with, and other countries too, I'm sure. But you saw what was going on with Hunter Biden down there. When he's the board of anything, he's on the board of anything. It's a sign of corruption. So yeah, I mean that's just the way it's been. Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, and it's funny now because the Ukrainian president, he sees where Biden is, and apparently he's been, finally saying some things like, "Hey, where's the U.S.? You guys were talking all this junk, saying that you had our backs, but actually not so much." When now they're just talking about sanctions, and they're probably funneling them some guns and troops and what they call it now, lethal aid, which whatever. Let's see. Justin said, "Did you see the list of all the stuff that I shared on Facebook? That Ukraine is the top 1 to 5 countries in terms of what they mine, ore, and more. Russia just wants attention and control more. That the U.S. Our current sitting administration 2 weeks stand up and put our foot down." Yeah, no, that's 100%. They are too weak, and they're not only weak, but they're not very creative either, right? I mean, there's other ways that we could lean on Russia other than just these silly sanctions, but they're dumb. They're just dumb people. They're not serious. They're too worried about climate change. Today, Biden is announcing his Supreme Court nominee. Like you got 3 brain cells left. You need all of those 3 brain cells directly honed in on what's going on in Ukraine and not worried about, like, number one, the seat's not open yet. We got time. That's not the pressing issue of the day. And, I feel sorry for the lady because she's getting nominated strictly because of the color of her skin and because of her genitalia. And that's I feel sorry for her. I don't know how qualified she is. I'm sure she's a leftist activist. She's probably not somebody that I would deem worthy to go on the Supreme Court. But with that being said, it's not why she's getting hired. She's getting hired because she happens to be black and she's a female. JGM, hey, yeah, you're welcome, man. Thank you for watching. We really appreciate that. If you haven't got it, when you get it, you'll like it. We'll leave it at that. Let's see. Any truth of the story about the American biolabs Ukraine being part of the Russian targets? Have no clue, Jacob. I haven't even heard about that. I mean, we probably got lots of different business interests in there. We probably have biolabs, and I don't know what that means. What does it mean to be a biolab? Does that mean we're, creating food, or are we, doing GMO stuff, or are we, actually getting in there and doing some sort of biological weapon, that seems to be the kind of inference. But I don't know. But I'm sure we have lots of different business interests in there. Couldn't believe he is freeing Ukraine from the grass of the West. That's probably one way to look at it. I had someone tell me that when I said thank you, ma'am, it offended her and that she recognizes as a they. I left all my shit on the counter and asked for my money back. Well, that's because you're a bigot, Justin. Just joking. I probably would have done the same thing, or at least laughed. They're making COVID-22. Who knows, man? Who knows? What I do know is we're in a war with war with was looking. All right, folks. I apologize. I keep losing you guys. What is that? Oh, got the. I tried to move closer to the where I thought the magical interwebs might be. Let's do that. All right. Thanks for sticking with me. Let's see. Got to wind up the internet key. Yep, feed was lost. Let's see. Yeah, no worries, Justin. We'll talk to you later, buddy. All right, so we definitely have some internet issues here in Istanbul, which it really is no different. It's actually a better feed than we get half the time in West Virginia. So it is what it is. We're trying to work on that too and find a better source of internet. Our internet just barely gets us by, so doing a live stream over it sometimes is a challenge. Hey, Theodore, I appreciate you stopping in, man. Really do. So listen, folks, it is getting close to 4 a.m. here in Istanbul, so we will go ahead and wrap this up. Look, I really appreciate you tuning in. I'm really excited about doing this Arken Optics. I really do hope. I'm hoping that this is a really good, viable option, and that, you know, it's at least they at least work for what they. Now, if they're even close to comparison to some of these other higher end brands, and then I lost my light. If they're even a close in comparison to some of the higher end brands, I mean, you know, that's just that much better altogether. So we'll see how that all turns out and what happens with that. Well, with the light falling down, we'll go ahead and call it a night. You guys stay safe out there. If you need anything from us, make sure you reach out to us. Look, we always appreciate you guys tuning in. Please tell your friends and family about this. Continue to share our content. We want to continue to grow this channel and do this more often and continue to bring you guys really cool things, whether it's live streams, whether it's, gun and gear reviews, all that other good stuff. Tom, it's good to see you, man. I'm glad you tuned in. Good to see you. Yeah, we got some, matter of fact, Tom, we're going to have you on very soon. We got some pretty cool announcements to make. Well, Tom and I will get together, and we got some cool stuff that we're going to be doing with Securit. Tom is the CEO of Securit. I've been meaning to have him on for a long time. We're going to definitely get him on and talk a little bit more in depth about some projects that we have going and some other cool partnerships that we've been doing together. But we will definitely do that. JM, let's see what we got here. I've got an SH4, 0 problems, just a tad heavy though. 0 problems, just a tad. Looking forward to your reviews. 0 problems. Oh, 0 as in I was reading that as in you had problems zeroing. 0 problems as in no problems. Good. Well, I'll tell you, any of those that are going to be, you know, a 50 to 54 millimeter objective lens is going to be heavy. There's just no doubt about it. If you haven't seen the Vortex, or some of the heaviest scopes out there. All right, folks, we're going to call it tonight. My light's falling down. We're losing feeds. All this crazy stuff's happening. We got Russia at war, Ukraine across the sea over there. Anyways, listen, I really appreciate you guys tuning in. Again, if you guys need anything, make sure that you reach out to us. Go sign up for some courses. Go buy some stuff in our store. It helps me pay the bills, keeps my wife clothed, all that good stuff. We appreciate your time. We appreciate the business. Until next time, stay armed, stay ready. We'll talk to you guys soon.